Build a figure.
Welcome back to the show, folks. This is the upper tier, the triple T's. It's Thursday Tier Talk, back again after the international break. Joining me as always, my co-host, not guest, Dazzler. How are we, Darren?
I'm all right. Did you steal that from me, Niall? The triple T?
I did, yeah. You sent it to me the other day, yeah. So I copped it and I grabbed it and I said, yeah, I'm going to use
Killing
that.
it like that?
Yeah, it is, absolutely. Make a good T-shirt.
Wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Take a few comments before we
begin.
begin.
Triple T, huh? We
That's
could have
it.
like instead of the skull, we could have the microphone. We could have the things off it. And what's the Latin thing that goes around it? Fucking Nostradamus, Spiritu Santo, whatever the fuck it says around. You know the fucking.
We'll pull out some Latin anyway.
Yeah. Arte
Joanne's in.
It's not in the front of the Blackburn jersey. We could go with that one, couldn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Joanna's in. Hello, boys. Hiya, Joanne. How are you? Good to see you there.
Good evening, Joanne.
Eno's in. What's the crack, Niall? All good, my friend. It's Mania week. Have to be happy about that. Joanne's out with her first prediction. She's going to be dropping them. And Morris says, my first prediction is these lads will look hot tonight. Sure, that's a given at this stage, isn't it?
It's only because the rat is on behind me, Morris. That's all.
Morris is off to London for the weekend.
He is, and you know what? I've been chasing some tickets from today, but
no joy.
No joy at the minute. If
it can't be that hard to get a It can't be that hard to get a Charlton ticket, is it?
If anyone listening can help Morris out with an Arsenal ticket for the weekend, I think he would greatly appreciate it. Now, I did speak to one Arsenal fan. He said to me, "You'll get one outside the ground, pretty handily. However, I'm unsure what you'll pay for it." Yeah.
And whether it scans when you go to the desk.
Well, I think you'll be all right for that, but I think you might pay a few pounds for it. We'll have to see what's under the tree at Spar this week, won't we, Morris?
That's it. Joanna's out of the blocks quick with a 3-2 prediction in the City game. Interesting. And Morris back in. Great to be back to some proper football. Absolutely. All you people celebrating a 1-0 loss to France should be ashamed of yourselves. Steve Clark knows how to beat the big boys. Kenny, you happy Thursday. Spot on. All summed up in one comment.
We'd have beaten Spain.
Maybe, yeah. Probably, yeah.
Spain. Yeah, we would. We absolutely would. Well, I mean, only for Magnon save, like you've got at least a draw against the World Cup finalists. You know?
Yeah. And Mark's in. Evening, lads. Looking great as usual. Dazzler, good to see you. You're still standing. Yeah. After last night. God, word gets around fast. Are these lads trolling you or something like that, are they?
No, I had it up. I'd say I put about 10 stories on my fucking Instagram, my Facebook last night when I was at the gig.
Jeez, I hope Elton John appreciates it.
I was pushing. I was really pushing.
Let's start doing that now for the podcast. Don't mind Elton John.
Absolutely.
Let's get this preview going. And no better way to kick it off. Lunchtime Saturday, Man City versus Liverpool.
I have this funny feeling now, and I can't get it out of my head. Since somebody told me Liverpool have won 2 early kickoffs since in like 6 years or 7 years
since 1916.
Like, that's just a mental. And your record at the Etihad isn't great either. So I think when you combine the fact that it's the early morning ball and it's the Etihad, and City will probably be, coming out all guns blazing, trying to lay a marker down here. I think it's going to be a tough day at the office for you. But the one thing I will say, and I'm gonna bring it back to this every single week when we touch on Liverpool. If they light the blue touch paper the way they did against United, anything can happen. We've seen it works. They've set the bar. The problem is you need to reach that bar now as often as possible. You're not going to reach it every week. We get that. But if you can reach 70, 80, 90% of that week on week, you'll win more games than you lose.
Yeah. What's your prediction on this one?
I think I'll go 2-1 City.
Yeah. I'm hoping, believe it or not, I'm hoping for a draw. Hoping for a draw.
Well, you'd take a draw, wouldn't you?
Yeah, which is to be honest with you, no matter what season we're dealing with, that's what I nearly do be looking for. Going to the Etihad anyway.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. 100%.
This one is a bit more steeper.
You'll be realistic about these things as well, don't you?
Yeah, I mean the only thing I think we have going for us, I'm not sure whether Haaland will be playing or not. He didn't attend training today, so I don't know if he's going to be out or not. He has a groin issue, pulled out of the Norway
I
squad.
was going to say, yeah, but was that because there was 3 Norwegian or Swedish masseurs rubbing his groin down in the background? You wouldn't know.
Don't know. Maybe it's a maybe he hurt his groin when he dropped his phone while driving or something like that.
Maybe,
Did he?
yeah.
I said about that the better. Yeah, I'm thinking a draw. Bournemouth versus Fulham.
Yeah, I think this could be an interesting enough game. Obviously, Fulham falling off the wagon completely in the FA Cup game just before the breakup. I was on my way home from work this evening. I was listening to Marco Silva saying he wants to meet the officials from the game at Old Trafford and apologise. And, you know, he said we were out of line and blah, blah, and you just thought, right, this is nuts now. Maybe he's trying to do it to lessen the blow against Mitrovic, you know, and it's clever if it works. But I think Fulham will feel like they left a huge scalp out there that day because, let's be honest, until Anthony came on the pitch, Fulham were the better team.
Yeah, up to 70 minutes, up till it blew up.
Yeah, and I feel like Anthony changed the game when he came on. I thought he was very, very good, and then obviously the sending offs happen, and then it's just, you know, becoming then they're pitting uphill, and it's becoming a really, really difficult game for them. I expect them to come out and have a much, much better game this weekend, but we know Bournemouth's not the easiest place in the world to go to. They've been keeping stuff really, really tight at the back, Bournemouth, especially at home, and they've been nicking goals. So I don't think there'll be loads in this, and I just got to go 1-1 on this. I think both teams have something to play for. I think Fulham will put their best foot forward, but I think Bournemouth will grind them down and get something out of it. So I'm going to say 1-1 here.
Yeah, it's an interesting game, and it's kind of, I would say it's kind of a tough game for Fulham to come back to after an international break as well. They certainly lost their rhythm before the break, and even prior to the United game as well, we had mentioned that they were kind of struggling a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Like they had run out of a bit of gas and stuff like that.
Yeah,
they have a narrow enough squad and stuff like that, so there's a lot of mileage on those boys' legs at this stage.
I was going to say there was a lot of boys that have played a lot of games for them. Like you could probably name 6 to 7 players who played almost every week for Fulham. Which, if you've got 7 players playing every single week, you know, when they're fit, Mitrovic plays, Pereira plays, the boy Anthony Robinson plays, Kenny Tete plays, the goalkeeper plays, Paulinho plays, and then, you know, Tim Ream plays as well. So there's a lot of guys who play a lot of minutes at that club there. There's a few that rotate in and out to kind of freshen the side up at times, but most of the time it's a set 7 or 8 that he goes with, you know.
Yeah, Acers was on there earlier. 1,700 quid for a ticket for the Wolves game in May, and same prices. Absolutely.
Mental. Anyone who's paid 1,700 quid to see Arsenal or any football team for that matter needs to head there.
And Marky's in. Hopefully Rashford is fit for Sunday because he's like a rocket man going down that left side. Gonna get a bit of this tonight, aren't we? There's a bit of this Elton John stuff going to be coming through tonight. Acers. Liverpool haven't won a luncheon kickoff this season. Liverpool last win at the Etihad was December 2015.
Yeah, that's like ketchup and mustard on your hot dog, and that's just like, oh God, Jesus.
I think Liverpool will win 2-1. Big shout, Morris. Big shout.
That's hope rather than think, Morris. That's different.
Yeah, our thinking, Joanne, at the moment is that he may be injured. He didn't take part in training today, and he withdrew from the Norwegian squad with a groin issue. So Pep might get him to sit out this one because there's 10 big games that are coming up, plus the Champions League and stuff like that. It might not be worth risking him, and then he pops his groin. And if he pops his groin, he could be gone for at least 6 weeks potentially, you know. And that'd be a fair old chunk of the run in. So
on fantasy football, they update on players' fitness and stuff. And on fantasy football, it's saying groin injury, 75% chance of playing.
Yeah.
So he's there or thereabouts, but it may be something that they decide to do from the bench rather than.
Yeah, I mean, it could be also Pep playing games and stuff like that as well. He's renowned for it. So.
Absolutely, Pep playing games. That wouldn't shock me either. I won't lie.
Yeah, and Acers on Newcastle United win on Sunday. Darren will appreciate that because you have been getting a few wrong.
gets the United result wrong like nearly every week because goals against United. But anyway, it's another day's work.
And Joanne, if Holland is injured, it could go in Liverpool's favour. I don't know. I'm not too sure about that. The midfield for me is really the concern. Arsenal versus Leeds.
Yeah, I suppose Leeds off the back of a really, really big win away at Wolves on the last day, you know. It can be difficult when you're looking at form going into a weekend like this after a 2-week break because you don't know, obviously, who's gone away for international duty, who's come back with knocks, niggles, maybe even just tired from travelling or from a couple of games and stuff like that, who's been at home, got their feet up and had time to recharge the batteries and things like that. So I think this will be a tough game for Arsenal. I fully expect Leeds to be bang at it. You know, they have been in the last couple of games under Javi Gracia. And we know, like, obviously the boy Wilfred Nanto, he's coming in with a little knock they're talking about. But he's still got Somerville, he's still got Bamford, the boy Rutter. There's plenty there. I think the thing for most teams is right now, like, you've got to go and be aggressive against Arsenal. You can't go and sit back. If you sit back and absorb, they're going to beat you, and they're going to beat you well. I think the only way to actually get at Arsenal is to kind of be a little more offensive and to try and nick a goal, nick a second goal if you can. Do you know what I mean? Because they do cough up chances, Arsenal. It's all about taking your opportunities when you get them. But if you can get into the game, Leeds could get something out of this. You know, they could. Now, I'm not saying they will, and I'm probably gonna just err on the side of Arsenal, but they could make things very, very difficult for Arsenal, let's say.
Yeah, I think when we looked at the title race on last week's show, we did say that both City and Arsenal are capable of dropping points, but it
Yeah,
mightn't be necessarily where you think they're going to drop them. It could
absolutely.
be in, a game coming back like this right off an international break. The team has lost a little bit of its rhythm and stuff like that. Might take a game to get back into that. I mean, the good
Absolutely.
news for Arsenal today is Partey was back training as well, so he's not injured, so he's going to be available. So that's a big
So
one for them there.
big shout out to our boy Marky Hogan sending me pictures of the setup. We're on the telly at home.
Oh, are we? Yeah. He loves that. Oh yeah, he got a media unit in. He sent me a picture
Got a
there a
media
couple of weeks ago.
unit
Yeah,
in.
looks
So he's got
class, doesn't
the
it? Yeah, yeah,
he's got me and you on the telly.
yeah.
Jesus.
No, Eno's the same. Eno does have us up on the 55-inch as well.
It's like,
In
oh man,
Hodges,
I
yeah,
look bad enough
absolutely.
on an iPad. Imagine
Yeah.
putting me on a 55-inch. Holy Jesus.
Joanne's going for a 2-0 win for Bournemouth. Eno's there. A bit late with the comments doing I presume he means the hoovering around, the hovering around. I'm sure he's doing the hoovering around, maybe. Joanne reckons bullshit or
Once he's
Pep,
only
yeah.
doing the one with the bleeding Dyson. Hey, it's only Thursday night.
Absolutely. Bit early. Never forget the talk.
Yeah.
Marky's back in. If he is 75% fit, he will play, and Pep won't sacrifice him. Yeah, but I think Darren's call might be right. He might bang him from the bench in case
No.
if he needs him.
He's gone for sacrifice. And that's another Elton John.
Oh
He's
God.
really gone for he loves a
Oh,
pun here.
Arsenal 4
4-0.
Leeds nil.
Oh,
Could
Jesus.
listen, I tell you, they roasted Palace and all.
I'm gonna go 2-1.
2-1.
But yeah, but I don't. I think 4-0 is hopeful. I think Leeds were good against Wolves. Were very good. A lot of teams have struggled at Molineux this season, and against Wolves in general. And Leeds were very, very good against them. You know, really looks like that message from the new manager is starting to seep in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Ian's in. Looking forward to the book launch signing on Saturday. Yeah, 2 to 4:30 in Wrestling Mania, folks. Kenny Noble will be on hand launching his book, The Greatest Show on Earth, all about his Wrestling Mania or WrestleMania iconic moments and fantastic artwork. This is a real piece of art, this book and stuff like that. Well worth picking up. So if you want to toddle along, meet Kenny, chat to him about the book and all that kind of thing. 2 to 4:30 Wrestling Mania, top floor Stevens Green Shopping Centre this Saturday, April Fool's Day, or for us wrestling fans, Mania Day 1. Quick. Tomorrow night we've SmackDown the Hall of Fame and all.
This time next year.
Oh, I tell you, man. Suitcase will be down we'll be already there. We always go on the Thursday. There. We'll be in the air. We'd be in the air.
Will we be in the air at this stage? I don't think we will. We'd be down.
No, we would.
No, because it'll be about 11 o'clock flight.
Yeah, we would be down actually. Yeah, we'd be just tucking into a whiskey and a Philly cheesesteak.
I don't eat cheese, but
Well, a
I can
Philly steak.
I can have a Philly steak. I can do a Philly
There you
steak
go.
and a whiskey. That'll work for me.
That's it. Morris
Ooh,
Saliba has a long-term injury, the Ten Hag curse. And Joanne shared out. Absolutely love it.
thanks, Joanne.
Appreciate that. Acers, Bruno Guimaraes and Alexander Isaac to cause United so many defensive problems at St. James's Park. Don't know about that. I'm watching
In
you both
fairness,
on the TV. Joanne's on the TV as well.
in fairness,
She,
they caused us loads of grief in the Carabao Cup final as well.
Hmm.
No, you didn't.
Brighton versus Brentford. This is one of the games of the weekend I'm looking forward to, actually.
Really looking forward to it. Anytime I get to watch the boy Matoma is a good day. Really, really like this kid. I think obviously Evan Ferguson heading back to Brighton after a really successful international debut. Obviously getting his goal against Latvia, and then he put in a great performance against France the other night. Did really, really well. I believe there's a host of top clubs around Europe are looking in that direction. Not only Robert Sanchez, not only Matoma, not only Kasheda, McAllister. Now Ferguson has added to the list. Brighton could have a huge summer this summer with player sales. They could be looking at 200 to 300 million worth of player sales if they're not careful here. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I gotta say, they're able to replace them. They've been doing this for a couple of years, selling, replacing, selling, replacing. So good at it. I like Brentford, I have to say. Really like Brentford. I don't like them as much away from home as I do at home. I think at that community stadium they're unbelievable. They're a little bit trickier on the road to kind of suss out. At times they can be good, and at times they can be a little bit off the boil. I think Brighton will be very good this weekend, but I see goals in this game. I have to be honest. I really do see goals. Both like to play that expansive kind of football. I'm going to go 2-2 on this. I think there's goals here, and this will be a great game of football.
Yeah, I think it's going to be open as well. There'll be plenty of goals.
Yeah.
Both teams playing
so
for something big as well. They've a lot to play for still in this season.
Just look at that league table with Brighton and Brentford, 7th and 8th in the league. Like,
and you know something? Only for I'm a Liverpool fan, it's refreshing. I like it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, listen, we don't want to lose our spots in the top 6, let's say, but 100%, it's great to see, two very, very well run clubs. We know Brentford do things slightly differently. They have a slightly different scouting network. Everything goes through Thomas Frank. There's numbers, there's that, but it's a really, really well run club. And Brighton just seem to be unearthing. Every time they pick up a stone, they find a gem. It's unbelievable. I watched a little bit of the game against Grimsby, the FA Cup game, obviously the quarter-final a couple of weeks ago. And when I was watching them, they were taking guys off and they're bringing guys on. You're looking at the guys they're bringing on, you're going, haven't seen much of this guy. And then they come on and you're looking at them going, Jesus, here's another one. Here's another one. You're like, what the hell? Well, what's going on here? Do you know what it gave me the whiff of? Red Bull Leipzig.
Yeah.
It's RB Leipzig
in
the Premier League. They're going to be the top clubs around Europe are going to have their eyes on Brighton for the next couple of seasons to watch what they unearth next. Because with the likes of McAllister and Kasheda, you've 150 million there minimum for the pair, right? You've Ferguson, you've the keeper, you've Matoma. Like, this is huge business. What's Ferguson going to cost you tomorrow if you bought him? 50 million?
I don't think they'll let him go with that. The one thing about Brighton is they will hold out for the price. They turned down 70 million off Arsenal for Cancelo, and he cost them 3 million.
That's right.
They will hold out. They know their worth.
Yeah, and you know what? I love the idea that they say, "There's the price. Meet it. We're good. Don't meet it. It doesn't go. End of. Don't care."
And we don't want it over 10 years. Hit the bricks.
100%. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Which, as you said, very like Leipzig. Leipzig
extremely.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah,
absolutely. Great shout.
100%.
Great shout. Acers is in. We're not going to agree with him. We've actually have forecasted the opposite. Arsenal will lose points against bigger teams than smaller teams. We don't necessarily buy into
Yeah,
that. We've had a view on that last week.
yeah, I absolutely think the opposite. I have to be honest.
Yeah, Palace Leicester.
Yeah, I'm really, really disappointed. Palace and
With
Leicester. I got to be honest. Like the fact we've got to look at a bench with Roy Hodgson on it is just, it's scandalous.
disappoints
It
us as
really
well,
is.
doesn't it? The nicest jersey in the league this season.
Right,
And still
absolutely. And you know
disappoints
what?
us.
The second kit was the same, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
beauty.
I'm still like, I feel like just hunting Patrick Vieira down to give him a hug. Not that he did that nice against United over the years, but just I feel like he got stiffed. I really do. And I know people are going to say, yeah, but look at the league position. And I get that. I absolutely get that. At the minute, Palace are 12th. So other than Villa and Chelsea, they're the best of the rest in the league, yeah? And in the last 10 games, they haven't been beaten by more than a goal. If that doesn't tell you you're right on the cusp of this, and they've played big teams, they've gone places, I really think it was a difficult move that they made, and I don't know if it's the right one. Because I mean, Hodgson is stopgap. Hodgson keeps you in the league till the end of the season. But what do you go and do then? Whereas if you keep the area, and we've seen it over the years where a team had a really tough season under a manager,
Arteta.
right, toughed it out. Well, I'm thinking even further back. I'm thinking David Moyes at Everton, nearly
Yeah.
relegated, Champions League 2 seasons
No,
later.
number of times.
Right, so and you just think they've got to, like, looking at that there, they should have thought that they had enough there to keep them up, right, and therefore go and back him again, go and let him do a little bit with the squad. I don't feel like they've spent enough money when you look at them, especially when you look at some of the teams around them. Like Wolves throw money around, Villa throw money around, Forest threw 30 players around, so it's hard to compete now. West Ham has spent big money, Southampton spent money as well. And unless you back your manager in the market and financially, it's difficult to keep going up that table. It really is. I suppose Royal gets something this weekend, won't he?
Do you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking this is going to be a Palace win, and I wouldn't be surprised if Leicester drop into the bottom three, and our good friend Brendan finally gets his marching orders.
Wow,
it's coming.
If Palace are going to win this game, they only win at 1-0. So it's clean sheet. So if that's, I don't think they get more than one. If Palace win,
I wonder will he take a view? I wonder will he go back like using like the boy SA was kind of out of flavour and he's come back in. He'll use him maybe. Mateta up front is just very not good.
Mateta and Edward are absolutely bang average. Now I do get the idea that they need a target up there, and I said this earlier on in the season. I would have liked to see the younger lads, Olise on the right, maybe Eze on the left, and allow Zaha go through the middle and play a much higher press, get everyone to step up behind them. We know the boy, Check the Core that plays in the midfield. He's a really, really tidy baller, this kid.
Yeah.
And with some legs in and around him, maybe with Will Hughes and the boy Schlupp and stuff like that, you could cause problems, absolutely. But they've got to play really, really high. They can't let people get at that back four and stuff like that. And like if we're gonna go Palace, we're gonna go 1-0. But I think this might be a draw. I'm gonna go 1-1.
Cool. Daz is in. How are you, Daz? Big up Niall and Daz. Good to see you, mate.
Good to see you, pal.
Morris is back in. I do have you resting on the 9-inch phone on the laptop. Oh, Morris, good man. Joanne's back in. I'm confident Arsenal will win. Yeah, and you should be, Joanne. And I lost £2 this week. Fair play to you. Awesome stuff. Keep it going. Brilliant stuff. And Daz is in.
I lost about €150 last night. That's me.
Yeah. On Gargle at Elton John. And
Jesus.
Daz is back in. At Niall, are you on Jamie's tomorrow at 6? I'm not too sure, Daz. I haven't heard that yet, but I've been talking to Jamie about this. That he's doing a pro wrestling channel as well soon as well. So I told him I'd be on that with him if he needed me for WrestleMania, but I haven't heard that yet. He might hit me up. And Morris, I'll be in Philly too. We have to go on a session. Absolutely. I don't eat cheese either, Darren.
Good man, Morris.
Philly cheese. Like nowadays in football, there's too many show-offs. This is how you've injuries. Players need to go back to the drawing board, how football was played. How we had injuries back then as well. Oh, and the main man is in, the Bazatron Baz. Evening, lads. Have you up on the 65-inch Dazzler? Do you think Fred and McTominay will start on Sunday? Because Sabitzer is out with a knee injury now. Thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think he's out completely from what I heard. I think obviously the presser tomorrow will give us the final details. I think ideally you don't want to go in with Fred and McTominay. But I mean, Casemiro's obviously suspended. If Sabitzer is out and Ericsson is probably another 2 weeks away from being ready, then that's pretty much what we've got, unless he decides to allow Bruno drop a little bit deeper, which is something he has done. I know he likes Fred to press higher up. Is it a thing we could see Bruno and McTominay in the defensive two and let Fred go in behind Weghorst and Rashford and Anthony split them? Something like that, maybe. Yeah, listen, we all know I'm a huge Fred fan. I think he brings lots to the team. McTominay did really, really well for Scotland. Two good wins, 4 goals.
Top striker.
Top striker. Was a striker initially, wasn't he? United?
Yeah. That's right.
You'd have to think they'd give him a spin. Someone said the other day, like, look, he couldn't be any worse than Weghorst. And we've seen.
Imagine you switched him and put him up front and he started banging the goals.
Well, I mean, I did toy with this idea in my head, and at times he has limitations, but I don't think many of them would be exposed as a striker. Does he get around? Is he mobile? Absolutely. Yeah. What's his first touch like? It's not bad at all. He goes boy players, right? Can shoot, can pass, can head. His tackling's not amazing. And at times he lets guys drift past him, which when you're playing central defensive midfield isn't great. If you're playing up front, it's not a huge big deal though, is it?
No.
There's 2 things I'd like to see. And one is I'd like to maybe see him given a spin in a Carabao Cup game or something next season if he's still around in that position to just see what he did. And the other thing I want to see, and I've wanted to see it for quite a while, is I want to see Aaron Wan-Bissaka play as a right-sided centre-back.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Because we know he doesn't have the kind of quality going forward, whereas we do know with the ball at his feet, in a defensive situation, he's very, very good. Some of his touches are extremely tidy, getting away from players. He's got great reach, one-on-one. His defensive skills are very, very good. It's something I'd like to see.
Pacers again, without Casemiro, United are totally garbage.
Yeah.
And Joanne's back in. Brighton 2, Brentford 3. Great show. That'd be a good game. Tony with a penalty.
That would be a good game, wouldn't it? Tony in my fantasy, so I'll take that.
If only Southampton were as good as replacing players as Brighton are. Absolutely. Forest Wolves.
Yeah, I think this could be a good game as well, actually. Wolves will be hurt after what Leeds did to them last week. Excuse me. And Forest, obviously, have been very, very good at the City round. This is where they've picked up a huge chunk of their points this season at home in games like this against teams like Wolves. I can see past Forest in this, but I don't think they'll get a clean sheet. So I'm going to go 2-1 Forest in this one. I got to say, I'm a big, big fan of the boy, Morgan Gibbs boy. Big fan of him. Really like the kid. I think he's a phenomenal footballer. Forest outlaid a massive amount of money on this kid. I think they paid 40-odd million to Wolves, by the way. So he's possibly going to play against the team he joined from. We know what happens when that happens, don't we?
Yeah, put him in your bet. Put him in your
Right.
bet.
I'm gonna go
Um,
Forest 2-1 in that one. I have to.
Good shout there. Right, let's see now where I am. Marky, looking at the table, lads, who's getting relegated? So tight from Palace down. I think we did that last week, didn't we? We covered
Yeah,
the
we did.
relegation battle last week.
Mine were. I had a couple of shockers there, Mark. I won't lie. I think Palace and Leicester might go down. I know everyone's like, what? Palace and Leicester? I think they might.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to
I think
see.
they might.
Roy Hodgson will have Palace in a relegation battle. Do you know something? I think Roy Hodgson will come in, and what he'll do is he'll get a couple of frustrating results, frustrate teams in the way that he plays when he sets up a two banks and a tad bit kind of negative old school, nearly in an old 4-4-2, and he won't give a whole lot away, and he'll grind out a couple of results that'll see him potentially safe. I don't think he'll cough things up. He's a wily old veteran, Don't let the age fool you, people. He knows his stuff. And yes, fellas, Hilverin, the Dyson, yeah, not too sure about that. Freddie Mercury playing in the background. Nice. Freddie Mercury in the Hilverin. Can you feel the love tonight for Evan Ferguson?
It's the circle of life, Marky.
He's on for it tonight. Joanne's back in. Crystal Palace 0, Leicester 2. Big call.
Huge call. That's a huge call.
Absolutely. And Morrison, you're right, he did get stiffed for here. They needed a Gallagher type player and a striker. Speaking of Gallagher, he needs out of that sinking ship, Chelsea. And Asos is back in. Rodgers was linked to Tottenham job according to TalkSport today.
If Tottenham gave Brendan Rodgers the job, they absolutely deserve to be shot with balls that are on shite in their face.
Absolutely.
If that's anywhere near the truth, Brendan Rodgers, then that'll just show you the level that Daniel Levy is looking for at Spurs. He's happy to be an also-ran. He doesn't want to win trophies. He doesn't want to take the step in the next direction. Yeah. Right.
We are going to be talking about Spurs, my friend. Don't worry. Save your thoughts. I shall. Back to Chelsea Villa.
Yeah, I think there could be trouble here for Chelsea. I think Villa have had a couple of good results under Emery, really starting to look like they're going in the right direction. Villa tightened up a little bit at the back, and obviously have started to score goals. Be interesting to see what Potter goes with now this week.
I think have they lost Reece James? Reece James pulled out of the England squad.
I think Reece James is gone. Yeah, which probably means Aspilicueta or Loftus-Cheek playing as a right back, which you can't do. You can't do it. Stop doing it. He can't play there. Like, I like the idea of Chelsea going to the back five. I have to be honest. I love the three centre backs. I love seeing Fofana, Koulibaly, and Badiashile. Really do. I think obviously Kovacic had another good international break. He got a couple of goals there for Croatia the other night as well, which will be great for Chelsea to have him back. Havertz has obviously done okay as well. So I think they'll be in a good space, but I just think Villa are kind of causing them a little bit of trouble. I really do.
I think with Chelsea, the international break came at the wrong time for them, didn't they? They were
absolutely
kind of finding a bit of rhythm.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Morris back in. What do you think of Reece Nelson being level on goals with Anthony with only a tenth of the playing time? Also, justice for Scott McTominay. Maybe Eric Ten Hag should call Steve Clark to unlock McTominay.
I'll take Anthony over Reece Nelson all day long and twice on a Sunday, Morris, and so would you.
There you go.
1-1 in the Chelsea Villa game.
1-1. Interesting. Let's move into Sunday. West Ham versus Southampton.
Yeah, this should be a good game as well, actually. West Ham kind of picking up results in that conference, and that's leading them. And we spoke about this. A lot of teams that go well in that Europa or in the conference end up losing, spaces in the league table because of it. Very, very difficult to play late on a Thursday night and then play Sunday every week. It's so tough. It's something I talk about every season, but especially when weeks that the likes of the Europa and the conferences on when they've games then on the Sunday. It's so difficult when you're coming back from an away game to try and pick up a result. Then you could be away in the Europa and you could be away then at the weekend. Very, very tough. I think this will suit West Ham. They're back at home. They'll be blowing bubbles. Southampton obviously going in the right direction on their sellers, but I don't think they've enough to match up at West Ham on Sunday. And I'm going to go West Ham 2, Southampton 1.
Cool. Big up to Henry in the chat there. How are you? Check out Henry's channel, folks. Go over there, subscribe and share and show the love across.
Are we at the 100 yet, Henry?
I think last time I spoke to him was he at 90 or something like that last week or something like that, I think. Climbing all the time anyway.
Doesn't help when Big Brother up there shaves a few off on you as well, does it?
Oh, man. Tell me about it. Joanne, Forest 2, Wolves 2. Big game. And Eno reckons Forest 2-0.
Yeah, I think Forest will nick it, but I think it'll be tight. Wolves' biggest problem is not it's not that they're conceding loads, they just can't score enough.
Morris is going with Bournemouth, Southampton and Forest to go down. And Joanne, we will have another disruption in May with the football, 6th of May, the King's coronation. Oh, man, we just got the stuff out of the way, didn't we? We were hoping for May. 6th of May, apparently. Yeah. Must be. Mason Greenwood returned to United this week. Will be interesting to see how meeting went between Ten Hag and the board. Yeah, should be interesting.
I'm gonna make a prediction.
I know where you're going with this. He's gonna be back for next season, is it? He's only gonna be back this season now, is he?
Here's my prediction. United play Wrexham in San Diego in a pre-season friendly in July. It was announced.
The ad was brilliant. You see the ad? Brilliant.
He plays in the United team against Wrexham in the States. There's my prediction.
Interesting. Joanne back in. Chelsea 2, Villa 3. Big win for Villa. She's expecting at the bridge. We're going to be talking about the bridge later on, folks, as well. News coming out about that as well. And some other news about Chelsea as well. Big losses. And Darren, you're going to be getting your flowers off me again later with some of the stuff that you predicted in relation to Chelsea. Seems to be coming to light now. Morris back in. Villa to go ahead of Chelsea. Yeah, well, if they win, yeah.
They win, absolutely. They will, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Did Mudryk sign? Yeah. He did indeed. He was horrific for Uruguay the other night as well. Henry's in. Hi, Morris. Sorry, Ukraine. Sorry, not Uruguay. Uruguay on my mind at the moment.
Did he change nationalities as well?
He should have. And Ian in. Shout out to all my friends on the chat. Absolutely. Baz is going for a 1-2. Henry's going hi, Ian. And 2-1 Chelsea for Eno. And West Ham, Joanna's going 2-1 to Southampton.
Wow.
Big shout. What's the crack? And Joanne's back in 3-0 to United against Newcastle. Interesting.
You know what, Joanne? I would take your absolute
hand off for that. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, your hand, your arm, your shoulder, the whole shoot match. Yeah, absolutely.
Nice Super Sunday to come back for, though, isn't it?
Yeah, love Super Sunday. I'm trying to think what we have on here in the house. Excuse me. I worry then because you know what the weekends there's so much going on with kids and football matches and you're like, oh god. But like I would love.
You should be alright for a 4:30 though, would you?
I should be alright for a 4:30. The danger is not being home for the West Ham one. We've swimming on a Sunday morning and stuff like that, and then that usually leads to breakfast, and then that could lead to visits to the shops or something. And then all of a sudden I'm like a bull in a shopping centre somewhere going, it's 3:30. We need to get home for the match. My veins are coming out of my neck and all. And
did you give me a West Ham Southampton prediction?
I did 2-1 West Ham, and she's given it the old. You do this every week when they're on. You ruin it when we go out. Like, just leave me at bleeding home, will you?
Interesting. So Newcastle United.
Yeah, I won't lie. I'd be more than happy with a draw here.
Yeah.
I'd be more than happy with a draw here. Tough place to go. We've had some absolute hidings up there over the years. Like, proper hidings. And Newcastle in a good vein of form after 2 good wins. Obviously beating Wolves at home and then beating Forest away from home, which was a great win for them the last day out. And the boy Alexander Isak was very, very good. I don't know whether you saw this or not, but it was a really interesting moment in the game. Did you watch the game? The Forest and Newcastle game?
Yeah.
And I obviously had Alexander Isak in my team, my fancy football team. And I had Kieran Trippier. And Trippier had the ball in his hand. He's standing over it. And I'm thinking, happy days. This is good news because I get 6 points if Trippier scores, where I only get 4 if Isak scores, you know. Plus, it'll boost him up in the bonus and stuff like that. And he hung on to the ball until everyone got outside of the box. Until all the shithousery was over. And he turned around and walked over and handed the ball to Isak. So that nobody could get at him with the ball in his hand, knowing that, you know, they were going to try and hustle him a little bit. It was just such a really clever thing to do from Kieran Trippier. He wears the armband at Newcastle. We know he's a super footballer. You know, he's got one of the best, if not the best delivery in the league, you know, with that right foot. He's tremendous. But it showed real leadership and it showed what the guy was about, because you're not going to get an awful lot of goals or right back or opportunities to score. So if you're on penalties or whatever, you're going to want to take them. He said, you know what, I'm going to do what's right for the club here. This kid's in a rich vein of form. Let's keep him going the right direction. We spent big money on this kid and maybe he sees a big future for the lad. And he handed him the ball and he put it in the net and got the win. It was brilliant. It was really, I just thought it was such a great piece of, you know, initiative to use. Just really quick thinking on the pitch. I'll take the ball. Everyone can come at me. The keeper can come at me. The ref can come at me. The lads around me can come at me. You know, your Ellen's this, the whole shoot match. And when it's all died down, I'll just hand the ball to that young fella and go, knock it in there, kid, won't you? It was just tops.
Give me a prediction. Now that you got your love affair for Trippier,
yeah. 2-2.
2-2.
2-2 goals. I think there'll be goals. I really do. And I'm going to go 2-2. Yeah, I'll do.
Right, finish out with Mondays. Everton versus Spurs.
Yeah. I feel like this could be bad news for Everton, because I just imagine with Conte leaving the building, this is going to be like the shackles being let off. And I'll tell you, if I was going to do an anytime scorer, I reckon the boy Son is due a goal after having to put up with Antonio Conte over the last little while. I seen he did apologise to him. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did a short on it. Yeah, he came out with apology. Yeah, I did a short on it, saying he came out and he apologised. He took responsibility for Conte getting sacked.
Yeah, well, part of it, you know, and I just thought it says an awful lot about the guy, doesn't it?
Yeah, his honesty is without question.
He's as honest. He sure is, you know. And in a league where egos are aplenty, he doesn't seem like somebody who worries about anything other than what he has to do and what his job is, you know.
Morris reckons something a little bit more low key for Greenwood as opposed to that, because they're pumping that game up, that Wrexham game, aren't they? So yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but don't forget, the soccer fans don't know anything about the game. They haven't even memorized the offside rule yet, so it might be a bit difficult for them. So Mason Greenwood will make no deal at all to those boys, because don't forget, over there, what he did, you probably got a high five and a pat in the back.
How dare you question those MLS fans and their knowledge, huh? How dare you? Henry back in, as long as we beat City. Yeah, absolutely. And our man is in. Hold on to Wexford. We didn't get reports from these guys about the birthday weekend last weekend either. Big up legends. Noel DePill will win us the league this weekend, mate. Hopefully.
Did they not add you to that WhatsApp group, no?
No. Oh, you're in it, are you?
There's a bit of carnage going around there. No, I'm not.
No, they didn't send me out, and it was all kept very low key.
No. Yeah, I'd say it had to have been. The CCTV will come out and Crime Watch next month anyway, so we'll be all right.
Absolutely. But big up Coyle. Make sure you check out Coyle's channel as well, folks. Jesus, the volcano bus driver. Yeah, absolutely. He's in the I hope so, Coyle, says Henry. but we need Brighton to drop points. Can't have them above us. Yeah, absolutely. What do you think of Lamb's drama in Ballyfermot? Anyone ever had it? Haven't.
I've
If
no
it's like
idea.
the Lambs, if it's like the Lambs, it's like if it's like the Lambs I have down here, it's not too bad at all. Big up
I
Acers.
think you're a brave man called the Ballyfermot, but that's another day's work.
Yeah, I can think of There's easier ways to get a takeaway than that.
Yeah,
Big
there
up
sure
Henry.
is, man.
And Henry's in. Southampton have no hope. There are 2 spots left for relegation, I think. Southampton down, done, and dusted. Liverpool heavily linked with James Ward-Prowse as well this week. Saying
Weren't
that
they? Yeah,
you
can see that.
and you know something, to show the dare I say the arrogance or ignorance of the situation, Liverpool fans coming out saying they don't want him. There you go.
They don't want James Ward-Prowse.
Apparently they don't want James Ward-Prowse.
But this just, I can't fathom what goes on in people's heads. Like, or really
Have they looked at our bench this season?
But don't forget, it's not just Liverpool fans, because there's United fans that do the exact same thing. I see us being linked with players, and all of a sudden, some bloke living in his ma's box room says, "No way, don't want him in our club. He's not good enough." And you're thinking, "Sorry, what?" Like,
do you know what I've heard? Do you know what he was described as this week?
oh God,
Jordan Henderson with dead ball skills.
wow.
And I'm sitting back thinking, that's not a bad player. Really, when you think about it.
And now listen, I know he has.
I don't mean this season now. I don't mean this season.
No. Listen, Jordan Henderson's. I'm not a fan of his. However, he's what he's done at Liverpool and the career he's had at Liverpool has to be respected. Absolutely has to be. But the other thing I would say is, I think Henderson's delivery is all right. Actually, Henderson's delivery is all right, but James Ward-Prowse's, that's fucking really all right.
Absolutely.
He's
this is gas, isn't it? These fans, they don't want James Ward-Prowse, but we're getting gassed up over links with Mason Mount.
He's in that very small upper tier of dead ball specialists in the boy on Friday night.
Where did you lose him, Kyle? Well, what's that saying in the movie? It's not like he's a set of car keys.
He's in that upper tier of dead ball specialists, isn't he, in the league, along with the likes of a Trippier and stuff like that, Ward-Prowse, and a Bruno Fernandes, guys like that, they're special, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Wait till we see if we miss out on top 4. Let's see if the level of arrogance is still the same about who we take and wouldn't take. Midweek game predictions.
I'd take your hand off for James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah, Morris, 28 grand for tickets for the last game is madness.
28 grand for tickets for Arsenal.
There is a ticket up there apparently that a lad is selling 28 grand. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Do you know what's worse? Do you know
mortgage for the?
Do you know what's worse?
I'm sure he's gonna pay.
Don't listen. Do not be surprised if they go on to win the title and they have it on the last day of the season. They might not do it again for another 30 years.
And who? Oh man, imagine some absolute. Oh, can't even. I couldn't even fathom it. 28 grand. Is this someone's mortgage or something? Is that why they want that specific figure?
Oh, Mars, I'll have to.
Mortgage free for the year with the Arsenal last game of the season they're giving away. That's nuts.
It's like the Airbnbs. They rent them out for a week for the last week of the season, and then they go off and they go to the Marbella or the Maldives or something for a month on the money. Morris back in. You need to Google it. Father wouldn't give son a pay rise, so he opened his own Chinese next door near Lambs. That's all I have to check it out. We have a Lambs down here in Greystones, actually.
I saw it. That's right. Yeah. I saw it. The son wanted. Yeah.
Darren, do you think United fans are too defensive of David De Gea? Think you should be shopping for a keeper soon? I don't know about
that. I'm probably the wrong person to ask that question to Morris, because he's our record clean sheet holder, and I've seen him do things that I didn't believe were possible. He spoke there last week to the United app, and he spoke about some of his best games. And your man that was doing the reporting on it, he said, like, I have you down for some particularly good games. He said, but one of them he said was at home against Everton, in whatever year it was, and I was at the game. Now I'm not joking you. I think I told you this story before. Rosanna was actually with me at the game, and she regularly brings up. Do you remember we went to that game of football and they couldn't get the ball past your man? That it was just like, it was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. You know, I think there's a spot for him. I won't lie. I think there's a spot for him, but we'll have to wait and see.
Coyle, if that's the case, he lost him at 12:15 on the Friday night and found him at 7 p.m. on the Saturday evening. Coyle, you should have done up a few missing posters or something like that and slapped them around the town for the crack with his mush on them. And a link to his YouTube channel. It would have been quality. Get a load of subscribers. Aces. So yourself and Kelly doing midweek preview for the Tuesday game. Yeah, we will be. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Yeah, we'll be doing a double up. We'll be doing the Shankly sessions and the Chelsea Royal. Yeah, we're playing Chelsea on the Wednesday, isn't it? Absolutely. Yeah. I'll have the City one out tomorrow as well, folks. I'm not sure about the match reaction. It'll be a bit later because I'm actually working this Saturday. So
still Chelsea Roar still going, yeah.
Of course it is.
Haven't seen Chelsea Roar very often this season.
Well, if Potter keeps on getting results now, they'll be roaring back in. Right, so we're gonna have a bit of fun now, folks. Okay. Want to have a bit of fun. Obviously, Darren, we're going to talk first of all about this very quickly. Two very much deserving entrances into the Hall of Fame at a time where sometimes we question these Hall of Fames, but I think these two are two very good picks. Two of them absolutely redefined football through the 90s and the 2000s. So two brilliant selections. But what we're going to do is
the 90s and the noughties.
Yeah, but we're gonna ask the chat now, folks. We're gonna get you, if you're in the chat there, we want you to pick three. Me and Darren picked ours today, so we're gonna get you to pick three to go into the Hall of Fame.
I didn't pick mine.
Well, you sent them into the group chat, didn't you?
No.
Oh, did you not? Okay. Well, we get you to do it now.
What I did pick was the midfielders for the.
We're gonna do that as well. Actually, I have that on the slide as well, but a crack as well. Yeah. But yeah, if you're in the chat there, folks, whoever's in the chat there, give me your three picks to join Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger in the class of 2023 Hall of Fame.
So I'll tell you who I'm going to go with, right?
Yeah.
Because generally when I look at something like this, I look at which players are furthest back. Does that make sense? So like Tony Adams, let's say. Tony Adams would have played a lot of games before, say, a Michael Owen, right? So I would have, and I think, like, you know, when you're measuring players, it can be difficult with centre halves and, you know, strikers and midfielders and blah, blah, blah. But I think at this stage, Tony Adams absolutely deserves to be in the Premier League Hall of Fame. So I have Tony first. He's my first one, yeah?
Likewise. I picked him today as well.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, Tony Adams, 100%.
He's my first go-to, absolute go-to. I think my second one might surprise you. So actually, when I look at my second one, I'd go Andy Cole.
Andrew Cole.
I'd go Andy Cole.
Andy to his friends.
Andy to his pals, yeah. I'd go Andy Cole.
Interesting.
And again, because I think he's before a lot of these guys, you know, and I think.
So you're trying to just catch up on time,
right?
Because you reckon most of these guys will recycle in next year as well. So yeah.
Of course they will.
Yeah. No, I get you. Yeah.
They will.
That was my thinking with Tony Adams.
That's my thinking with the whole shooting match.
Yeah.
Because listen, don't forget, every player on there will eventually be in the Premier League Hall of Fame. How long it takes is a different story. But you dilute the quality each year, so the next ones on the list go to the top of it. So for me, I have Adams, and I would go Andy Cole next. I think Cole at times can be a little bit overlooked obviously was phenomenal at Newcastle. Went and did, a really, really good job at United. And then did a really good job for Blackburn as well afterwards. Was very, very good. Like his goal rate in the league was phenomenal. Really, really was. So I'd go Adams and Cole first. And again, I'd probably surprise you with my last one. And my last one, I'd go Robbie Fowler.
Well, you won't surprise me with that now, will you, in fairness?
No.
No, not at all. So we
I,
agreed on 2.
okay, yeah, I'd go Adams, Cole, and Fowler. And that's where I would be on it. Again, Fowler's far enough back. He's before the likes of Gary Neville, and he's before the likes of, sorry, not Rio Ferdinand, Nemanja Vidic, guys like that. We don't need guys like that in there yet. There's plenty of time for them. There's plenty of time for Yaya Toure. There's plenty of time for Michael Carrick. Michael Carrick's only really hung up his boots. We don't need to throw him into it. Coyle, I like Coyle. He's going with Adams, Cole, and Terry. I'm going Adams, Cole, and Robbie Fowler. I think initially when he broke through at Liverpool, he was just unbelievable. Just unbelievable.
Mark, you haven't seen a Chelsea Roar video in a good while. I guess that's why they call it the Blues. He's on fire tonight, isn't he? He's
sure is, isn't he?
Fire. Ian's in, Gary Neville, Michael Owen, and Andy Cole. Not a bad shout at all. Time for bed for me. Good night, all. Night, Henry. Have a good one, my friend.
Take it easy, Henry. Thanks for tuning in, pal.
They're all deserving of the Hall of Fame. Yeah, that's kind of
Absolutely.
what Darren was saying. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and they'll all be in there eventually. 100%.
Yeah, so I went with John too. I went with Tony Adams and, of course, Robbie Fowler. If Robbie Fowler's on the list,
then I tell you what, I'm going to guess your third one. Because I reckon on the basis that you've gone for Campbell and Fowler, you've gone at least for one United player to try and make it look like you weren't as partisan as you are. Am I right?
I didn't go because of that. I went for it because I think it is deserving.
Okay, and if you went for a United player, you went for...
It's so obvious.
You went for Nemanja Vidic.
No, his partner, Rio.
Oh, very good.
Went for Rio. Put Rio in there. Yeah.
Well, listen, I think Rio was the better of the two. I've said that before. I am one of the very few United fans who think Ferdinand was actually the rock in that relationship, but
100%.
That's where I would go. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I think what happens probably his last 1 or 2 seasons probably derailed people's thinking a little bit, where he dropped off somewhat, but he was like,
there was
his record speaks for itself.
There was a stage where Rio Ferdinand was the absolute best on this planet in that position. The absolute best.
100%.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Daz. Henry, pop in tomorrow. Depends on how work goes. Yeah, absolutely. Acers, Adams, Fowler, and Ashley Cole. Again, good shout. Good shout. I was kind of thinking about it in terms of there's a lot of defenders in there and a lot of really good quality defenders in there as well. So you kind of have to pick between them, don't you? I mean, as we said, they're all kind of deserving. They must be waiting for Shelby to return before putting them in.
I read it. I don't know whether Morris knows this or not. I read a funny story about John Joe Shelby the other day. Did you read this?
No, go on.
He got married recently, and he was obviously trying to show his missus how much he loved her, on their wedding day. And he offered John Legend 50 grand to play one song at the reception.
You can kind of do that, can't you, when you're on their money?
And John Legend obviously told him where to go, because I think he's got 20-something Grammys, so he probably doesn't leave the gaff for any less than about for 7 figures. And John Joe thought he'd take him up on a 50 grand hike. Like, Jesus Christ. Shelby, man. What the fuck?
Can't wait for Eddie and Kenny to get into the list. I'd
The
say
only list that Eddie
by the time that
is
happens,
making,
me and you'll be both dead, Kyle. At that stage,
the
we
only
won't
list
see
he's
it.
making, Coyle, is the list of Jericho. That's the only one he's listed. You just made the list.
Yeah, I was expecting Kyle to say Trossard or something like that. Trossard to be making that list before Nketiah. No doubt about it. Here's another little fun one for us today, and we did it today, Darren, didn't we? This was pick your midfield, folks. So if you're still in the chat there, whoever's there, pick your midfield. You've got £6 to spend, and you have to pick 3 midfielders. Let us know your 3 midfielders. We did this today as well, and it was quite a discussion on our WhatsApp group.
Sorry, hold on. Breaking news. I just have to put in that this is not football related, but remember the defining moments I showed you before we went on air?
Yeah.
That's a 4-pack. It's a 4-pack. They're all out together. They release together.
Happy days.
Ooh. Sorry.
Marky's coming in here. I put the foul in just for the things he did for Bradley Lowry, legend.
That was cool, yeah.
Shelby must, cool. Yeah, absolutely, yeah, 100%. Shelby must showing wife spit shine. Morris, can you guys do a worst Hall of Fame next week? Stefanos, he'd be a mount to start. That would be interesting.
Who's the guy that signed for West Ham? Marco Boogers.
Yeah. Oh, so look, the list will be endless.
William Prunier. There's a huge list. We should do that at one stage.
Yeah, just do Hall of Fame no hopers or something like that. Yeah, it'd be a good crack, all right. Morris back in. Gerrard, Vieira, and Zidane for his midfield. Gerrard, Vieira, and Zidane. Nice.
I obviously initially picked. It says you've £6 to pick the perfect midfield trio, and most people would pick. And then I thought, could I not just have the £6 and buy 2 Makelele's and 2 Scholes?
Yeah.
We're not losing too many games of football with 2 Claude Makelele's and 2 Paul Scholes in there. We are not losing a whole lot.
Makelele was so underrated as a player, wasn't he?
Oh,
what a player!
I do have a bit of an issue with those 5 guys being sold at £1.
Yeah, there was kind of a mismatch in it, wasn't it? It was kind of there's a kind of a narrative.
And how many I think it's a bit necky putting Kaka up on £3. Kaka was good. Was he Iniesta or Xavi? Definitely not. Was he Zidane? 100% not. Was he as good as Pirlo? Probably, but I think they're bluffing with him as well, really. Yeah. I think I genuinely, now I wouldn't have him in my team because I don't like him and he's a cunt, but I think there's genuine argument for Roy Keane to be up there in that £3 bracket with the likes of Zidane and Iniesta and Xavi.
Minimum 2 at least, anyway. Right? Minimum 2.
Come on.
Yeah.
And I don't like the guy, so I get nothing out of that, right? But that's Sergio Busquets for £1.
Daz is going with the safe bet. He's going with Lampard, Stevie, and De Bruyne.
All right. Well, there's 2 problems with that. Number 1, if you've got £6 to spend, Lampard should be absolutely nowhere near your 3. Nowhere.
Would you put Lampard down in Poundland? Would he be down in Poundland?
I'd have him in fucking.
He'd be in the pounds. He'd be
in Deals or Aldi or Lidl or something. The other thing is, don't forget, Stevie and Lampard can't play in the same team because England tried it and it didn't work. They were dog shit together.
Absolutely. Great shout. Yeah, absolutely. Coyle's in with his ones as well. Keane, Vieira, and Zidane.
You've got enough change for a fizzy drink, Coyle. I like it.
Yeah. That match, one of the lads said that today as well. I think it was the same. Lord B from Arsenal will be on the worst list. Absolutely. And Mark says Kane, Dazzler's mate, Scholes, and Zidane. Kane, Scholes, and Zidane. And Acers was back. Zidane, Makelele, and Pirlo.
That won't work.
That won't work.
Because that's £7. So obviously our maths is as good as your spelling.
You'll have to go again, Acers. You'll have to let you off the hook on that one. Morris is going in. Vieira and Kane at £1 is questionable. Yeah, they're all like
very questionable, Morris.
Very questionable.
I know I went with Makelele and Scholes, and I think I went with Zidane. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Do you know the funny thing about this? Do you know the funny thing about this? And it's interesting. Of all the people that I looked at and asked about this, no one chose Xavi or Iniesta. Isn't that mad?
Yeah, that is.
Isn't
mad.
When you think about it, I mean, arguably the greatest midfield pairing to kick a ball nearly. You know what I mean?
That's a stretch in fairness, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a stretch. But I mean, like, here's the problem. You only had £6, right? So you are basically picking one from each bracket, unless you wanted to go out and, be as shit as the England 2012 fucking North Korea team and put Scholes, Lampard and Gerrard in the one team, which then you'd be off your rocker. Play Scholes on the left, because that was a good idea as well. But, like, when you're choosing, I think Zidane is up there for me with, like, the all-time greats. I love Xavi. I love Iniesta. Two unbelievable footballers.
Pirlo as well. Pirlo,
are they
jeez,
up there with like would I? If someone said to you, top 10 footballers, Zidane of all time. Zidane's absolutely in the top 10. Is Xavi or Iniesta? I'm not 100% sure. Just my own opinion.
But in terms of midfield, they have to be, don't they? If you were picking midfielders, not just your top 10 players, but in terms of midfield, they have to be there or thereabouts, don't they? I mean, they were unbelievable. I suppose the difficulty in picking a three is you want to pick Xavi with Iniesta. So then you're out then because you're missing one. You can't do the maths on it. So that's maybe where the conundrum is for both of them, because maybe together they work better as a pairing as opposed to apart.
I think the player I would, like, if I'm looking at that, right, I'd probably go Zidane top. But, like, Kaká's way down the list for me. But, like, Iniesta's not right at the top either, I have to be honest. I don't think I'd have, like, if I had to choose between Iniesta or Xavi, I'm choosing Xavi every day of the week. Like, every day of the week. Oh, that's not even a question for me. And everyone's going to have their own opinion.
He better hair.
Xavi, it just looked like he just woke up like that every time, didn't it?
He'd better hair, yeah.
Little wet quiff, little spiky bit at the front, like that little,
That's it. There's in. He's going with Keane, Gerrard, and Zidane. Morris back in. Then again, look at the Twitter handle. Football funny shit, absolutely. What's the crack, Morris? Good to see you in. Happy Mania, bud. Absolutely. Want to talk about this one? We'll do a couple of days throughout the season, stuff like that. They're interesting and a bit of fun as well, Wanted to talk to you about this. Me and you had a conversation about this the other day. Yeah. Let us know in the chat what your thoughts are on this the other day. Harry Kane taking the England record the other day, 54 goals. What is your thinking on this? I mean, we spoke about Robbie Keane with 68 goals, I think it was, or something like that, either 62 or 68 goals, I think it is.
Yeah.
What's your thinking on this record? I was quite shocked, first of all, that it was only 54 goals, because we wouldn't be really following it and stuff like that.
No.
But what you're thinking on this? I seen this today.
Football is shite.
Yeah, but I seen this today on a Twitter post today. 32 of his 54 goals were scored against these teams. Now, what I would say is Senegal are a very good team. Scotland are always a tough game against England, and Nigeria are a decent team as well in that list.
The other thing I would ask is, how many times could they have played Panama? like, is that the fact? Has he banged in 4 against Panama in one game, and we're just getting this slanted look? This is why statistics at times can be very misleading. I would have thought.
Well, that's.
I would have thought when you look at somebody like a Harry Kane playing for a team like England, that 54 goals was low.
Yeah.
But as you know, when we spoke about this, I did a little bit of research myself then. And the two countries that I sort of likened them to was France and Spain. And France's all-time record goal scorer
Now,
was
when you say liking them to, you meant similar availability of talent, similar
right
availability, like that
at
kind of
World
in that
Cups, at
market kind of thing.
Euros.
Yeah,
They're playing. They're going to quarterfinals,
yeah.
semi-finals, all
Generally
that kind of stuff.
qualify and
Right,
go deep in them and
playing
stuff
a
like that. Yeah,
similar amount of games at a
yeah,
similar level where they're going to have
mm,
similar shite in their group in the Euros
yeah,
and that type of thing.
yeah.
They're up there as three of the biggest, if not the three biggest nations in European football. Well, we know obviously Germany and Portugal and Italy are in there as well, but I mean England, France, and Spain are huge. Olivier Giroud was the France record goal scorer. I think he's got less than Kane has, and David Villa is the Spain record holder. I think he's got less than Kane as well. And when you look at that, then you think, well, hold on. That's when I actually looked at Robbie Keane's record, and I thought, well, you know what? Now that we're looking at things, somebody needs to start throwing a few more bouquets in his direction, because the big thing was always about Roy Keane. Well, actually, Robbie Keane is right up there in international football when it comes to goals and ratio and stuff like that. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Another ex-Spurs number 9.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? And he says add to that as well 18 penalties.
Yeah.
But listen, penalties a goal. You still have to score them. We
Penalty,
see them missed.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So they were kind of coming from the point that
penalty's a shot from 12 yards.
So they were kind of coming from the point that he scored 4 goals in decent games, and basically that the record was going to stop at it a little bit, And I suppose
it's harsh.
Yeah, it is a little bit harsh, but again, as I said to you, when I looked at, I think when we looked at the listing, is he 32nd in the list in terms of the international records when we went down through it? Either 32nd or 36th or something like that, which is not really good.
I'm trying to think offhand. Because I was in New York when England played USA. Did he not score against the USA?
That's what he probably means by decent games.
Right, so now people are saying that one of his 4 decent games or goals was against the fucking US, who play soccer. They play a different game, lads. Stop the Lloyd Willis plays. Jesus Christ, you're searching. Oh, man.
It's a good USA side. That is a good USA side.
Darkness,
we'd be fans of some of their players.
Absolutely would, but I mean they're not a powerhouse in world soccer. Might be in world wars, but not in world soccer.
Yeah, absolutely. Christ. Right, we spoke about Conte on Thursday. This came up. A couple of things I want to talk to you about. One, both these men have managed Spurs now, the only club they've both managed where they haven't won a trophy. But on top of that as well, we're hearing that Fabio Paratici, his ban has been extended worldwide now by FIFA, not just the Italian Federation, with the fallout of all these developments from Juventus. So it looks like, I know Spurs released a statement today which kind of said that they'll be looking into it, but they haven't taken action. But it looks like his position may become untenable at Spurs. So it looks like Spurs may be looking for a director of football as well as a new manager.
A quick question, and I may have missed something here. What trophy did Mourinho win at Roma?
He won the Europa League, didn't he?
With Roma?
Was it the Europa League? What did he win last season? Or was it the conference? He won the Europa Conference last season? Didn't they win the first one?
I completely missed that, obviously.
I'm nearly sure he won the first Europa League conference last season. Didn't he? The inaugural one, wasn't it?
Something might be coming back to me there.
Yeah, he won the Europa Conference last season, didn't he? Because that kind of, absolutely. Yeah, conference last year, Morris is saying in the comments.
Right.
He's also saying England, USA was 0-0. But he won the conference last year. Because remember they were slagging him about how he celebrated it. They were going in on him. Remember he celebrated it like he had won the Champions League and everyone was giving him grief over it. And they were saying,
I can see the pictures here.
Yeah, there you go.
didn't remember that.
There you go.
I don't know why I didn't remember, but I didn't.
Mm.
Anywho,
How
right, so
dare you?
yeah,
How
you're
dare you
looking at it
question
there,
my
you know.
slides?
No.
Questioning my
Well, it's
I'm only
listen,
messing.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, you're looking at it there, like
Mm.
they've both won during spells at Chelsea, who were, you know, among the hierarchy of English football, yeah. They both won trophies at Inter Milan, again, top club, huge history. Jose's won at United and at Real. Again, two of the biggest teams in world football. The only real ones that, you know, that you would look at that and say were surprises are Porto, and Atalanta is one of those teams for Conte, and I'm not sure who the first team is, but I would guess that might have been a promotion he won rather than an actual cup or a trophy, I think. Yeah, does that make sense?
Maybe I'm not too sure, but it's definitely it's based on silverware anyway.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Well, I mean, like if you won
yeah.
the first division title,
Mm.
you'd still get
Yeah.
silverware, wouldn't you? And that'd be marked off on the. But the
Spurs would love
Reds,
to win. Spurs would love to win the championship.
Spurs would look. There's no way Spurs would win the championship. They're way too soft for the
That's what
championship.
I'm
They'd
saying.
be
They'd
eaten
love to.
alive in there.
Yeah.
Eaten alive in there. Yeah, it's not a good look for Spurs, is it? It's really not.
No.
The one thing I will say about them, and I've got to be honest here, I'm gonna blow a very small bit of smoke up Spurs' arse here. No, very small, because they're Spurs, don't forget. Like, Spurs are supposed to be free flowing football. It was supposed to be doing things the Spurs way. Yeah? We hear this all the time. You're never going to get the Spurs way or free flowing football with Antonio Conte or Jose Mourinho. So then, you know, then it's decision making, because somebody has decided, be it Daniel Levy or whoever it is, someone has decided that, well, we want to move away from the Spurs way. Well, actually, you know what? The only time in the last 30 years you played the Spurs way was under Maurizio Pochettino, where there was young, exciting talent playing on the front foot, very attacking. And actually, he got you as close to you've ever got to a trophy, you know, in that era of the last 30, 40 years.
And at that level,
And at that
Champions League.
level, right?
Champions League.
So,
Yeah.
so actually, maybe you were doing the right thing with doing things the Spurs way, but then you second guessed yourself, and then you said, well, actually, we don't want to try and do things the Spurs way. We want to just say, you know, we want a trophy. We want to put these guys in who are just going to pick up a trophy to shut everyone up. Well, then you're not doing things the Spurs way either, are you? So, like, he's compensated massively here, Daniel Levy. And actually, if there's a problem at Spurs, I kind of feel like he is part of it. And he's a big part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Quickly, because I want to get on to Chelsea as well and then get on to our bets. Nagelsmann a fit, yes or no?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because look at the type of football he plays. You know, it's expansive. It's extremely expansive. He had Red Bull absolutely pouring at times. You know, before the move to Bayern and stuff like that. He would do a superb job at Spurs, provided as well Daniel Levy does get in his way and he doesn't decide to tie up the purse strings when he needs pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, because that Spurs squad needs work.
Yeah, Conte was like CM Punk on Cole Cabana's podcast. That one is for racers. I think Conte was more like CM Punk at that scrum after that pay-per-view for AEW when he lost his absolute mind. Marky's back in as well. Niall Dazzler, do you think Blackpool will stay up? And before you answer, don't go breaking my heart. He's knocking them out tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, I think they're all right. I think they'll be good.
I think they'll be okay, absolutely. Remember I said to you earlier I wanted to give you a bit of praise on this. Chelsea, of course. We're hearing Chelsea this week reported losses of 121 million. And that 121 million didn't take into account the spending that's been going on, as you know. And out of that, then they're talking about two things have come up really. One, it looks like they're going to push. The ownership they're going to push for a move away from the bridge, because it doesn't look like they're going to be able to redevelop the bridge to the extent that they would want to. I know there's issues around the bridge and stuff like that. There's a railway on one side or something like that. Is there a cemetery or something on one side, or housing or something like that on one side? And there's a number of issues in trying to expand it to what they want it to be. And then the final thing, the final thing that's come out as well, because of this 120 million loss, and you mentioned it a couple of weeks ago about Chelsea, they're very inflated at the moment. They're looking at a potential summer fire sale to comply with financial fair play. You said that they were heavily bloated, I think is the word that you used at the time. So I wanted to give you your props on that. You called it about 3 or 4 weeks ago before any of this information came out. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about the bridge. It's not somewhere I've been. So I can't really say a whole lot about that. I'm like a manager who's not seen a penalty. Oh, I didn't see it. I haven't been there. I suppose Ian would be the best man to talk to about that, because obviously he's been to the bridge. And he'd have an idea, I'm sure, of what the surroundings are. I do think, with the way they spent in the last couple of windows, in the last Bowley windows, I don't think it took a genius to understand that there was going to have to be huge outgoings at Chelsea. I do think they're starting to get a grip on the squad. Because again, I think like you look, Badiashile, he's going to be part of it. Fofana, Koulibaly, Kovacic, Kante. I think they'll try and tie Felix down. I think they really like the look of Felix. And Kunku was obviously, that's a done deal. And there's a lot of good players there, but there's a lot of dead wood that needs to be removed. A lot of dead wood. There really is. Pulisic, Ziyech, Loftus-Cheek, possibly Gallagher. I don't like either of the two keepers. I'd sell both of them in the morning. I think you need two more to come in behind them. Azpilicueta should go. I think on the other side, you've got the potential to possibly sell one of your left backs because of the type of freight you could get for them. Like Cucurella hasn't really worked out with Chelsea, and Ben Chilwell, when he plays, is the left wing back, and I think Chilwell and Reece James are the two players who fit that position best. I think with the likes of a Cucurella, I think Guardiola would still be very, very interested in him. And I think if you could sell Cucurella for, something similar to what you paid from that 40 to 50 million bracket, you could possibly go in and get two understudies at right and left back for Reece James and Ben Chilwell. I mean, if you look at what, say, United paid for somebody like Terrell Malacia, he'd be paid 12 to 15 for the lad. So you can go and get a fullback for that type of money, and he can do a really good job as an understudy to your first choice left back, i.e. Luke Shaw. I know there's a lot of clubs mentioned about this boy. I'm gonna say Fresnada, he's a Spanish right back, and apparently there's quite a number of teams that are interested in him. But the buyout clause is particularly low. I wouldn't be surprised to see Chelsea go for a lad like this, where 10 to 15 million bracket, but with massive potential that he could come in and grow under a Reece James when James wasn't fit. Now, again, that might not match up with what Chelsea fans want, because they haven't seen the kid play, and because he doesn't play for Munich or Barca or Real Madrid, and he's not playing every week at the highest level. People all of a sudden assume he's not good enough for our squad. I think we all know, or anyone that is thoughtful enough knows that that's not quite true. I think Chelsea this summer could be as chaotic as it has been in the last two windows, but not just with incomings. also with outgoings. I expect there to be a massive turnover of players this summer at Chelsea again.
Yeah, absolutely. Daz wants to know your favourite wrestler, Darren. And he asked
Of
the
all
chat
time?
as well. Favourite wrestler of all time. It's hard to do it because we've spanned a number of decades at this wrestling game now. So I think if you ask me in the early days, it's Hogan, Macho, and Warrior, isn't it?
Yeah,
Then when you move
well,
into that ruthless aggression area, you're looking at Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, probably Triple H, of course, Shawn Michaels and Brett as well. So it's
I'm not
Rock.
looking at Triple H. I'm not a Triple H fan.
No, I'm talking about me.
You. Sorry. I off the bat, like I was born in 1984 and started watching wrestling in 1990. So I was just about to touch 6, and that's when it got hold of me and grabbed me, and it was Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, and that was where it began for me. And I suppose in my head, I don't really know if anyone's ever been able to live up to those 3. Obviously Hulk is the only one still standing out of the lads, you know. I suppose the other
Closest would be
2,
Rock and Stone Cold would be the closest I've come to them, is it?
I
Yeah.
would have Rock and Cena.
Yeah, Cena, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I think Cena was huge, and I don't think we realise what Cena was. I think we'll realise a little bit later on down the road that Cena was actually even bigger than, because don't forget, Cena carried the can for a number of years. You know,
Through very tough years.
Right?
Tough years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Morris was saying, I think Brentford battered him when Aim was there, so he didn't last the 90, I think. He was asking about looking at the ground. Aces is in Ric Flair, absolutely.
100%.
Nature boy.
Yeah.
5 Spursy's way. Morris is Kane. He's always a big fan of Kane. Mark Hogan, Captain Rooney, best wrestler I've seen, IWW champion and legend. And Morris, seen him fight Mandrake many times. Mark, Mandrake was class. Yeah, absolutely. They were both deadly. Captain Rooney, surely you know me from your IWW days. And Marky and good old Ray was class. All joking aside, Mr. Perfect was class. Should have been champ. Ray back in the day gave me a little bit of wrestling training, and a lad nearly dropped me on my head doing a body slam. And from that day on, I said, that's enough of that.
Am I right in saying, was Mr. Perfect 64 yesterday?
He was.
Was it yesterday?
He was. Yeah, it was yesterday. Yeah, you're spot on. Yeah, because they were putting up the vignettes of him doing the basketball and all. I'm trying to remember through the American football and then I captured
the absolute best vignettes of all time. Now, don't forget, they were at a stage where a lot of vignettes that were coming out from WWF at that stage were right out of top drawer. Because I don't know whether you remember even the likes of like Skinner, who was in the Everglades.
Yeah.
And the head would pop up out of the water. And then you'd have Waylon Mercy. And then we had Razor Ramon on the streets of Miami. And you're just going, when you look back at that, like that, some of that stuff was gold.
Do you know what's disappointed me this week? And I suppose we're going aside off the football, of course. It's WrestleMania in Hollywood this week, and they haven't done the vignettes like what they did at 21. Remember when they had Flair on the donkey, the Braveheart stuff?
They did.
With Triple H. They've done very few of them. The only one what one did I see was the Joker. The Joker was the only.
Did you not see Bloodfellows?
No, I haven't seen. No, I haven't looked. I have to look back this week. So
they did Bloodfellows on Monday Night Raw.
Oh, okay.
With the Bloodline, best of the whole bunch. There's been they've done Top Gear with Maurice and Miz.
Okay, so I must go back and have a look, but I didn't.
They've actually, I think they've done about 5 or 6.
Oh, okay. Very good. I must go back and take a look.
The Bloodfellows was very good. That was extremely well received. Miz and Maurice, listen, I'll watch absolutely anything that Maurice is involved in. I won't lie. She is. Bing!
Yeah, Joanne's thinking like us, Ultimate Warrior and The Undertaker. 2 great shouts, Joanne. There you go.
Undertaker's a great
and
shout.
Marky.
As well,
Rick Rude was unreal as well. Yeah, absolutely. And Daz is in. Mine is Undertaker.
Another man who should have got a belt. Rick Rude.
Yeah, absolutely. Mine is Undertaker. Second best is Hogan and Cena. Yeah, not bad shows. And Joanna's in. Jake the Snake Roberts, absolutely. Damien, yeah. I was actually listening to an interview with Jake Roberts the other day, and he was talking about how he wasn't happy with He wasn't happy with Rick Rude wearing the tights. Remember, he wore with them with the wife on the tights.
Elizabeth, not
And
Elizabeth. Oh yeah.
yeah, and he said to Vince, he told Vince to tell him not to wear them, and Vince told him not to wear them. He says, I'm wearing them anyway, and he went out and he bet the crap out of Rick Rude in the ring legit and ripped the tights off. Remember that segment? And he said he hit him up for real over it. That was all legit. That pound.
I saw another thing about I don't know whether you're saying this with Kevin Owens and Stone Cold. Did you see this from Mania last year when they talked to Stone Cold about it, and apparently they pitched a couple of ideas. You could work with this guy. No. You work with this guy. No. What about this guy? No. And they got the KO and they were like, you could work with this guy. And he went, okay, maybe. And he was a bit of a fan of KO, but he said that he was super stiff in the ring. And he said Stone Cold himself was obviously really stiff. And he said he absolutely clobbered KO a couple of times. And he said he got to the back and the first thing he said was, holy shit, how did you not give me a receipt out there? He was like, I deserve to be absolutely slapped up. And he just said, it's respect, man. That's just the way it goes. There's a pecking order in this business, and I'm below you in it, and so be it. It was just was cool though the way he held his hands up, because again, most guys' egos run away with them and they go, "Oh, I was great." Stone Cold was like, "I was horrible,"
Great shout out from Joanne there, Texas Tornado. You'll see over my shoulder there on the Shankly Sessions, the Kerry Von Erich Hasbro is standing on top of that. So big Very fan good. Of Kerry Von Erich. Morris is in. Nathan Jones, 2 underrated at Southampton too. Brilliant. I'm going to purchase the Rise and Fall of CCW on Saturday. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing you at the book signing.
I hope he's purchasing it from Wrestling Mania.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what we meant. We were talking the other day. And Acer's Kurt Angle wrestling machine. Absolutely, Kurt Angle.
Do you know the only thing I miss out? I'm not missed out on. I think everybody knows at this stage. I bleed WWE. So Kurt Angle's best run ever was actually as Impact World Champion. He was phenomenal, but I wouldn't have turned on I'd have turned the telly off if Impact had came on, just because I've always been loyal to the cause. That was the way things were. Jesus Christ.
And Joanne's back in the Rockers, absolutely. Joanne is showing her pedigree here now. Big pro wrestling fan. We didn't know this.
If Joanne needs a set of legend rockers in the white box with the crepe paper around it, I know a guy who has probably the best, mintiest shaped Rockers Legends figures you've ever seen in your whole life.
Joanne, you'll have to check out our channel Dynamo's Dozen, where we do our wrestling podcasts on a weekly basis. Every Tuesday, 8 o'clock, myself and Ian are on talking all pro wrestling. So check that out, Joanne, if you're into your wrestling. It's always good cracking. We always take a look back in history and everything. Always good fun.
I always miss the old dozen. I got to work on a Tuesday.
Stan Kroenke was doing an interview on American TV station saying he's excited for WrestleMania on the weekend. He didn't say much about Arsenal. He's coining it in that stadium. Coining it in. Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's do our bets quickly now. Give us your bets. You didn't do them, so you didn't?
You go first.
I'll go first then, yeah. I'll go first then. I'll go first and last.
My battery looks like I might go.
Yeah. Is your Wi-Fi about to go like last week where you just went... What's that? Like that scene in The Usual Suspects. And just like that, he was gone.
I didn't. I was out last night. I left the house at the crack of dawn this morning and I just got in ahead of this. So I haven't had a moment. That's kind of where
do you know when I did my bets? Tuesday morning I did my bets.
Tuesday has a morning?
I will, Joanne. I'll send you a link onto that channel now shortly. I'll get it over to you either on Instagram or whatever. Absolutely. Yeah, it's cracking. Good fun. Right, so I started out, obviously, I like my draws. So I picked, I think, 4 draws, is it? 1, 2, 3, 4 draws, 160 to 1. So I went for.
And can you have any draws for that?
Or
is it dependent on the game? Like, sometimes in a bookies, when you go in to fill in the docket, they'll give you 3 draws, 80 to 1.
No. I picked the 4. I picked the 4 matches for you. So I went with Man City, Liverpool, which is
City and Liverpool.
Liverpool, yeah. I went with Brighton, Brentford. I think you called it a draw earlier, didn't you? 2-2.
I did, yeah.
Palace, Leicester. And I went with Forest, Wolves.
I called 2 of those as draws.
I think so, yeah. And the other 2, I think, were close enough, weren't they? 2-1s.
Yeah, like they sure were,
160 to 1. I have over 2.5 goals, which doesn't return a huge amount, but it seems feasible that it could happen. It's a 10 to 1 shot. So again, I went with City, Liverpool, over 2.5 goals. I went with Arsenal, Leeds.
Yeah.
I went with Brighton, Brentford, which you called earlier 2-2. And I went with Chelsea, Villa.
I would say if any one of them is going to be your troublemaker, it's going to be that Chelsea Villa game.
You think that's going to be low and tight?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And then your favourite.
But of the other 3, I think you've got them 3 nailed.
Cool. And then my last one then is your favourite. Both teams to score and result.
Both teams. Sorry, I thought you were going to give me goal scorers bets. Sorry, okay.
No, I didn't do a goal scorer.
Result and both the scores. Is that what we're going for?
Yeah, result of both scorer. I won't give you the odds.
Many teams?
3.
3 teams. Okay. Right, well, give me the odds and I'll give you the teams.
128 to 1.
130 to 1. Okay, so there has to be at least one team in there who's not favourite to win their game.
You would argue maybe there's probably 2.
Right, yeah, so that's what there has to be at least one. Okay.
But again, not a stretch.
No, absolutely not. Okay, so why don't we go at I reckon you've gone Brentford and both to score.
Correct.
I reckon you've gone Villa and both to score.
No, I went Chelsea.
Okay, and then your third and final one. Have you gone with your own team? You haven't gone with your own team.
No.
Good. Well, then you've gone with. Oh, have you gone with Newcastle?
I have.
I know you very well at this stage.
Yeah, it's just a absolutely boost the odds. So I went with who were the 3? Brentford, Chelsea, and Newcastle.
Right. It's not something I'll be running out to.
Yeah, it's
to stick money on. But
yeah, it's good odds.
No
it's
100. Things
it's
are bad.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm. So they're the 3 I did. They're the 3 I did for this week. I didn't do an anytime goal scorer because it was kind of. I wasn't sure whether Rashford would be playing. I wasn't sure whether Haaland would be playing. There's a lot of players out at the moment.
You weren't sure whether Eddie and Ketty would be playing. So, there was quite a few of those lads that you weren't sure were going to play or not.
Absolutely. Eno's in the Rock and Roll Express. Yeah, absolutely. Should have been going into the Hall of Fame.
Sure should.
Absolutely. And Daz just said he subscribed to Dynamos. Doesn't absolutely, Daz. You'll enjoy it. It's good crack, good fun. We do it every week on a Tuesday. I think it is 8 p.m. So hit the notifications there to let you know when we're doing it. That's it. That's all I really have for you, really. I don't know if you caught Barry Fry on TalkSport the other day. He was talking about this Ivan Toney making his debut for England, getting the 10 minutes and stuff like that. And he says there was talk that Peterborough might be due another $1 million off that because of an add-on clause or whatever it is.
Yes.
Barry Fry, he was absolutely gassed. He said, "Are you kidding me?" He says, He says of all the add-ons on his contract, we're only due about another 200 grand. And he said, and I think in the contracts, in order to instigate the clause in the contract, you have to start the game. You can't just come on for 10 minutes, apparently.
Yeah, he'll get time anyway.
Yeah,
he'll get time for England, you know.
But he was just laughing about it. It was hilarious. Catchy, you get it on YouTube.
He's a great character.
Yeah. The only other one thing I want to talk about, just one quick thing actually. The Zone look like they're going to make a bid to get rid of these the 3:00 blackout, and they want to take on some of the 3:00 games, calling the 3 p.m. blackout as medieval at this stage. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Be an interesting move if the Zone were to go that route.
Haven't seen that on it. I absolutely love there to be a 3:00 game on a Saturday. Absolutely love. I think I spoke to you about this before. So me personally, again, it's just me. I'm just throwing it out there, right? This is how I would spread out the weekend, right? I would go 8:00 Friday night, game number 1. Yeah?
Yeah.
I would go early kick-off on the Saturday morning, 12:30, yeah? I'd go 3:00, I'd go 5:30, and I'd go 8:00. You 5 games played, yeah? On the Sunday, I'd go 12:30, I'd go 3:00, 5:30, and 8, and on the Monday night, I'd stick in the 8. So you'd basically have all 10 games televised, no game at the same time. You'd have Friday night and Monday night, and then you'd have a matching selection on the 12:30, 2:30, or 3:00, whatever it is, 5:30, and 8, and I'd run them that way.
And Joanna's saying Apple TV are getting the rights to football now as well. Yeah, they're looking at moving into it as well.
That's what I would do, because I think that would be phenomenal. Phenomenal. Like, it's shit having 2, 3, 4. Sometimes you have 6 games on at 3:00 on a Saturday, and you're like, how can I watch all this football? Whereas then on a Saturday night at 7:00, I'm sitting there going,
Do you know what the problem is as well? If you've got a really cool, like the way this season is unfolding, you've got a great title race, you've got a great top 4 race for European spots, and
relegation battle.
You've got a great relegation battle. And the problem is a lot of these matches sometimes don't get shown because they kind of share the broadcasting around a bit. So it's a shame from that point of view that some of them don't be shown, because they're the ones you really want to be watching, you know, because it gives you that kind of, you know, that final day feels when you're going to the different grounds. This has happened or that has happened, and
half
12
Saturday and Sunday, 3:00. That's 2.5 hours later. 5:30, another 2.5 hours later. 8:00, another 2.5 hours later. 4 Saturday, 4 Sunday, Monday night, and Friday night. Game ball. Imagine that. How unfucking believable would that be, man? Even one weekend of that would fill me with joy. And don't forget, that would make a huge difference to the likes of the pubs. Huge difference.
Yeah, Marky saying he wish he had a Fire Stick or something to watch them all. Yeah, absolutely. It'd be class if we could. Just saying. Well, listen, another cracking show as always.
I wish I could wrestle with my conscience to make myself buy one. I just can't do it, Niall.
It's not taking that step in the door, isn't it?
There's a guy gonna knock at the door. Actually, speaking on this, I think I can talk about something like seconds. Let's just do seconds. I work in a tennis club. I think most people are aware of this fact, right? It's not a big tennis club. We don't have our clubhouse is, you know, one of those like chambres, you know, like it's a wooden kind of a structure that people have down their back gardens. Anyway, in the main room, there's a table and chairs for committee meetings, and in the corner of the room, there's a TV that when we run camps or things like that, and the rain comes, we're able to run in and watch. We're able to run in. Don't be doing that to me, Morris. We're able to run in and watch the TV. We got a letter in the post. First of all, no TV license. We don't have any channels. we can only show DVDs because we don't have any pipe, any cable, nothing like that, right? So we only have we only watch DVDs. So apparently we need a TV license, and apparently because we show it to groups of people more than 2,
IMRO.
we need
Yeah, the
this other thing,
broadcasting license. Yeah,
the
IMRO. I have it
broadcasting
for the shop.
license.
I have it for the shop.
So which
Yeah.
is then going to cost you about 1,800 to $2,000 a year.
Yeah, it's not.
Do you know
It's
what
not
that
for
means,
me.
Lon?
It's for me. It's not that expensive, but it's close
Do you know
to
what
it.
that means,
Yeah.
Lon?
What?
We took the TV down.
Yeah.
We now don't have a
Do,
TV.
do you know what? Do you know that IMRO license on the broadcasting? It's the rights for the artists and stuff like that. Do you know? Even if I didn't have a TV in there or I wasn't broadcasting that, and I still need that license because they pipe music through the center, and it's not even coming for me, and I still have to have an IMRO license. There you go.
Well,
Welcome to
I
my
was
world.
pumping music through a speaker today. If anyone's looking for anything out of it, they can go and get.
I hope it was a JBL speaker, was it? Love
Was a
wrestling.
JBL speaker.
There you go.
I bought a new JBL speaker yesterday, would you believe?
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well,
A
folks,
nice little red one that I can hang out the net while I'm playing tennis, and I can have a few tunes in the background, which was great for the warm-up. We played a little bit of Tiesto as we did our warm-up earlier on. Let's get
Marla
down,
says,
let's get down to business.
IMRO came into the barbers down here over the radio, and the barber took him outside and smashed the radio. Love it. Love it. That's the way to do it. There you go.
That's like back in the day. Remember the movie The Van? That'll be $4.50. I only have $4.20. No bother.
Hillary asked me the other day, have we got dog licenses, for the 2 dogs?
Yeah.
And I said, sure, when your man knocks on the door, we mind dogs. None of these dogs are ours.
Yeah.
Quality. Until next time, folks, make sure like on the video.
I do have a dog license.
Subscribe to the channel, and of course hit that bell notification. And of course, if pro wrestling is your thing as well, Dynamo's does them on the weekly. Myself and Eno are over there dropping wrestling chat.
I never make it the Dynamos. I love.
You'll have to get on it. Great crack.
Just walk.
You'd love all the historical stuff and all we do on the birthdays and all stuff. Cheers, folks. Talk to you soon. Enjoy your weekend. Hope your results go your way. I hope results go our way. Until next time, take it easy.
Hope the results go the way of Cody Rhodes. Yeah.
Night chaps up Charlton. Enjoy your trip, Morris. Have a safe one.